Hello guys, so in this video what I'm going to be talking about is Dolby Atmos in the year 2020. So first of all, what is it and do you need it? It's been out for about 7-8 years now, and you know, still people ask me this question, is it really all that? So that's what we're going to do today. First of all, what is Dolby Atmos? It's a surround sound technology. It was developed in the last decade. I think the first Dolby Atmos stuff came out in like 2012, 2013 sort of time. Yeah, so basically the main difference between Dolby Atmos and the traditional Dolby Digital 5.1, 7.1 and all that sort of stuff is before you would have the speakers that at ear level on one plane. So you could have like quite a lot of speakers, 5.1, 7.1, 5 speakers, 7 speakers, but they'd all be going like on one plane. The major difference now is that you have obviously those same speakers, but you have speakers that fire downwards at you. So you have sound coming from this way, but also sound coming down as well. So that's the main difference. You have additional speakers that you can buy, you need to buy for Dolby Atmos. And basically those speakers are called height speakers. You can install the height speakers in many different ways. You can install them literally like on the ceiling, on the wall, high up near the ceiling. Another option is you can install the speakers in the ceiling, so pointing down, so special in-ceiling designs. That's another way you can do it. And another way you can do it is you can get these special speakers and they sit on top of your speakers and they fire towards the ceiling. And those speakers, you're not getting a direct sound, but you're getting a reflected sound from above you. These are the different type of speakers you can get right now. The top Dolby Atmos systems, they support up to 400 channels, which is absolutely incredible. But that's more for a cinema setting. That's not really for your home setting. Now, for your home setting, you have a couple different ways you can set it up. Basically, it really comes down to how many Atmos speakers you want in your, if it's your living room or home theater, how many of those Atmos speakers do you want? So we still have the Dolby Digital 5.1, we still have that, but we have another number after that. So 5.1.2 means 5 speakers around you, 0.1 means the subwoofer, and the 0.2, at the end, means 2 height speakers in front of you. Then we have Dolby Atmos 5.1.4, which is the same thing, 5 speakers around you, 1 subwoofer, and then 4 height speakers, which means 2 in front of you, 2 like in front of you, and 2 behind you. And 5.1.4 is probably the most recommended type of system for people who want to put Dolby Atmos in their homes. If you want the best possible sound. If you want an entry-level Atmos sound, you're probably going to want 5.1.2. You still get the Atmos experience. It's just not quite as feature-rich. It's not quite as enveloping as the 5.1.4 experience. That's all. The other thing, just so you know, is that you can get Dolby Atmos soundbars, and they have basically loads of little speakers built into them and at the top as well. And you can even get Atmos built into TVs. But if you are a home theater enthusiast and you really want good sound performance, I don't recommend any of those options. You really need discrete speakers and an amplifier to have the best Dolby Atmos experience at home. Anything else is kind of like a pseudo Dolby Atmos, and I have heard it. It doesn't sound the same, so just letting you know. It can sound a little bit like there's effects, but it doesn't sound like a proper system. Okay? If you think that that's not true or anything, just let me know and we can debate it. But yeah, what is the point of Dolby Atmos? Well, the point of Dolby Atmos is to give you, as mentioned earlier, the sounds coming from above you, not just around you. But what this additional layer of speakers enables the sound producer to do is make a much more precise sound field. So whereas before you just have your surround speakers on your left and your right, and you might even have a couple behind you, it's really, if you think about in the real world how you hear things in real life, two speakers wouldn't be enough to emulate what that actually sounds like. For example, I mean, typical one would be like trees, rustling trees. I mean, there's no trees that I know that I go around and in the woods that are this high. There might be a few, but most of them are way taller than I am, and the sound is coming from above you, right? So that's one. Another one is a helicopter and planes and stuff like that. So it just helps with that realism. It makes it sound more realistic. Each one of those speakers has its own discrete feed. So you've got 5.1.4, let's say. So 5 traditional speakers, your 1 subwoofer, or even maybe the 2 subwoofers. You can have 2 subwoofers, that's fine. And then the 4 speakers, front of you, at the back. So that's 9 speakers plus subwoofers. Each of those have their own discrete feed. And that gives you way more information and way more that the producer can do with all those channels. It uses a special type of producing technique called object-based surround, and I'm going to tell you what that is now. So basically, object-based surround, what it is along with the actual audio information that let's say is being sent to the rear channels, the surround channels, along with that information there's something called metadata. It's like a type of information that's attached to the audio, and it basically describes to whatever's decoding it, what it gives some more information about what this audio might be and how it is represented in a 3D space. So it's not just a generic, sound. It's more of like a sound, but with some 3D spatial audio information attached. And when you have the right type of decoding gear, like a Dolby Atmos amplifier, for example, or AV receiver, it's able to decrypt that information and understand, well, this living space is this big and that high and all that sort of stuff, and this is how the speakers are in that space. This is how I'm going to time all this information. This is how I'm going to steer the effects around the room to make it sound more realistic, to make it sound more like it would in a professional theatre. That's what this object-based surround system is all about. It's all about providing not just better effects, but more detail, more information to the AV receiver when it's deciding how to steer all the effects and stuff around the room. So it is very important. So to summarize Dolby Atmos so far, we have a sound bubble, which what basically means sound around you and sound coming from above you. That's what I mean by a sound bubble. So it's more 3D like sound. The second thing is the sound effects themselves. They're a lot more precise because we have more speakers and we have a more advanced algorithm as well. We have the object-based surround sound audio format. So basically it's going to sound better in your specific, your personal 3D space. To benefit from Dolby Atmos, you're going to need special speakers to be able to do that. And I have 2 pairs of speakers that are Dolby Atmos approved, and here are basically what they are now. So we have the Dali Alteco Atmos speakers, and these speakers can be placed on the wall at a height, I think usually about 1 meter or so above the front speakers, or you can put them on the front speakers, fire them up towards the ceiling, and then the sound reflections should reach your ear. The other type of Atmos speaker that I've got is kind of an all-in-one Atmos speaker. It's a surround speaker, but on the top you'll notice that there is an added driver, speaker driver, and with this type of speaker your only option is the reflection model that I described earlier. You can't put these ones on the wall. Okay, so this is called the Focal Sib Evo Atmos speakers, and I've got these speakers, and I've got a review coming out soon about how good they are. But these are the type of speakers you need to be able to effectively run Dolby Atmos in your room. As mentioned earlier, you can get in-ceiling speakers, but this is more for very bespoke designs. Just another benefit of the Focal Sib Evo speakers is that because you get the 2-in-1 speaker, you get to get the Atmos experience, but your living room doesn't suffer for it. It just looks like the same sort of system as normal, but you've actually got where there's one speaker, you kind of have a 2-in-1. So a lot of living rooms will end up looking a lot more clean if install it this way. So what can we say next? What can we say next about Atmos, Dolby Atmos? So with Dolby Atmos, something to know is that you have to have Atmos enabled devices. And what that means is that everything in your audio system has to be Atmos compatible. So your speakers, obviously, you have to have an Atmos compatible speaker system. You need the speakers, otherwise you can't get the Atmos. But you need your TV or your receiver, whatever's receiving or sending that signal to the speakers, that has to be Atmos approved as well, because it has to take the data, understand what the data is all about. It has to decrypt it, and it has to then send that signal off to the speaker system, or your TV or your soundbar, whatever it is. So that's one thing. The other thing with Dolby Atmos is you have to consider what you're willing to pay. So you have multiple options, like I mentioned earlier. You have the soundbar and the TV option, or you have the full speaker system option. You also have to consider, the other thing is you have to consider what content is even available for Dolby Atmos. That's the other thing you have to consider. Let's say you have a fixed budget and you want to get a speaker system. Let's say your budget is, let's say £2,000. What are you going to be able to get for that budget? Now for that £2,000, if you want a full Dolby Atmos system, proper Dolby Atmos system, not a soundbar or anything like that, but if you want a full speaker system, you're going to need 5 speakers, the fronts, you're going to need the center, you're going to need the surround speakers as well, so that's 5. You're going to need a subwoofer, or ideally 2 subwoofers. 2 subwoofers, usually 99% of the time, 2 subwoofers is better than buying 1. So that's 5 speakers, 1 or 2 subwoofers so far. You're going to have to buy an AV receiver, which is going to be powering all your speakers. That's another thing. And on top of that, if you want the full Atmos experience, you're going to have to buy 4 Atmos speakers as well, cut like in pairs of 2, let's say. And you're going to have to do that with your £2,000 budget. Now this has some problems. As mentioned earlier, for that £2,000, you could just buy a soundbar, Dolby Atmos approved, but we're not going to talk about that. You could easily do that for £2,000. That's not a problem. But the thing is, for that £2,000, if you set your system up in the traditional manner, the 5.1 or the 5.2 system with the AV receiver, and forget the Dolby Atmos speakers, you're going to have now more budget to spend on better quality speakers, and perhaps slightly larger as well. So this is the thing that you got to weigh up. If you've got a limited budget, do you want Dolby Atmos or do you want a very good quality system? That's for you to decide. See, the thing with Dolby Atmos is, it is a good thing. It's good when you set it up right, but when it comes to sound quality, for me, sound quality is more important than Dolby Atmos up to a point. If you spend £2,000 and all of it's going to be included, the receiver, the Dolby Atmos system, everything is going to be included. You're going to buy 9 speakers, 2 subwoofers, all that. The system that you're going to get is going to be kind of like entry level, maybe medium level sort of system. And you know, if you just spent that on the actual speakers and got a good pair of floor standers, for example, or a nice set of stand mount speakers and bookshelf speakers, a better quality amp, or even maybe you could have bought some better subwoofers, that to me is a more wise or a wiser way to spend that limited budget that you have. Obviously, if your budget is £4,000 or £5,000 or more than that, then you can start maybe thinking that Atmos is actually the better way to go. But just thought I would say that before we move on. The other thing is you have to consider what is actually available for Dolby Atmos right now. So we have a lack of content. Even after 7-8 years, we have a lack of content with Dolby Atmos. Most people these days, they're streaming their surround sound. They're not even buying Blu-rays anymore, most people. So you can get Dolby Atmos via Netflix, but one, it's going to be compressed audio, and secondly, you have to hope that Netflix has the film or whatever it is you're looking to watch. You got to hope that they've got the content that has Dolby Atmos with it, and a lot of the time it doesn't have it. There are some titles that have Dolby Atmos. Like I said, even when they have it, it's not even good quality. So Why spend all that money to run Netflix? With Netflix audio, I can't even hear what's coming out the center speaker. Like, the speech is way more muffled, and it's so much harder to figure out what's going on. With the Blu-ray, it's like night and day. So, you know, the other thing is, a lot of devices that people have, they don't even support Dolby Atmos. So for example, my PS4, you'd think that would support Dolby Atmos, but the Netflix app within the PS4 doesn't support Dolby Atmos. But I've heard the Xbox does. So, you know, even something like a PS4, you'd think, yeah, that's definitely got it. Nah, it doesn't. So I don't know if they've updated it now. They might have updated it now, but till this date, I haven't actually seen Netflix with Dolby Atmos on a PS4, and other things as well. Many other things like streaming sticks and all that sort of stuff. A lot of these devices, they don't come with it. Now, overall, I have like a list of good things and bad things about Dolby Atmos, and basically all that sort of stuff. And I want to put that into a more kind of thorough review with a very specific point. So I'm going to do that in my next video. So if you want to watch that, please go ahead and watch that. I'm also going to do another review a little bit more in depth about the Atmos speakers themselves. So the ones I've got, the Dali Altecos and the Focals, I'm going to do a separate review about those. So if you want to watch that, go ahead and watch it. It will be on my channel very soon. So yeah, go ahead and watch that. So yes, thank you for watching the video today. I'll see you next time. Any updates, I'll put them in the comments below. Thanks for watching the video. Did you like it? If you did, then please give us a like. Subscribe if you want to see more content. I'll see you next time.